Pixar is one of the most revolutionary studios that there is, having released now 25 films, with a 26th being on the way, that of Lightyear. The studio continues to revolutionize the art of animation and has a unique way of bringing theatrical stories and characters to life for audiences that span 27 years and has captured the hearts of millions of fans worldwide. My name is Trace, welcome to Pierce Productions, and today I'm going to be walking through the history of the animation studio Pixar. Going all the way back to the year 1979, Pixar was part of the Lucasfilm computer division known as the Graphics Group. Before its spin-off as a corporation in 1986, with funding from Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, who became its majority shareholder, Disney purchased Pixar in 2006 at a value of $7.4 billion. Like many companies, Pixar does have its own mascot, that being Luxo Jr. You've seen him before, it's the desk lamp from the studio's 1986 short film of the same name. Pixar provided the world with the first fully computer animated feature film, starting with Toy Story back in 1995, which since then has spawned 3 sequels. There is history of Pixar from 1979 to 1986, but for the purposes of this video and its runtime, let's just focus on the history of Pixar when it became an independent company. Steve Jobs, you know that man, he's the guy that gave us the iPhone. In 1985, he'd been edged out of Apple and was now co-founder and CEO of the new computer company Next. On February 3rd, 1986, he paid $5 million out of his own money to George Lucas for technology rights and invested $5 million cash as capital into the company, joining the board of directors as chairman. In 1989, John Lasseter's growing animation department, originally composed of just 4 people, was turned into a division that produced computer animated commercials for outside companies. In 1991, Pixar made a historic $26 billion deal with Disney to produce 3 animated computer feature films, the first of which was Toy Story, the product of the technological limitations that challenged CGI. Even with the income from these projects, the company continued to lose money, and Steve Jobs, as chairman of the board and now full owner, often considered selling it. Even as late as 1994, Jobs contemplated selling Pixar to other companies such as Hallmark Cards, Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen, and Oracle CEO and co-founder Larry Ellison. Only after learning from New York critics that Toy Story would probably be a hit and confirming that Disney would distribute it for the 1995 Christmas season, he then decided to give Pixar another chance. Toy Story went on to then gross $373 million worldwide, and when Pixar held its initial public offering on November 29, 1995, it exceeded Netscape's as the biggest IPO of the year in its first half hour of trading. Pixar stock shot up from $22 to $45. As a result of the success of Toy Story, Pixar built a new studio at the Emeryville campus, which was designed by PWP Landscape Architecture and opened in November 2000. But it wasn't all hugs and rainbows. Pixar and Disney had disagreements over the production of Toy Story 2, originally intended as a straight-to-video release and thus not part of Pixar's 3-picture deal. The film was eventually upgraded to a theatrical release during production. Pixar demanded that the film be counted towards the 3-picture agreement, but Disney refused. Jumping up all the way to the year of 2006, Disney ultimately agreed to buy Pixar for approximately $7.4 billion in all-of-stock deal. As part of the deal, John Lasseter, by then Executive Vice President, became Chief Creative Officer of both Pixar and Walt Disney Animation Studios, as well as the Principal Creative Advisor at Walt Disney Imagineering, which designs and builds the company's theme parks. After the deal closed in May 2006, Lasseter revealed that Bob Iger had realized Disney needed to buy Pixar while watching a parade at the opening of Hong Kong Disneyland in September of 2005. Iger noticed that all of the Disney characters in the parade, not one was a character that Disney had created within the last 10 years. since all the newer ones had been created by Pixar. Within the walls that produce movies with smiling cars, family superhero adventures, and lovable rats who cook, there's also darker real-life scenarios that have occurred. On November 21st, 2017, Lasseter announced that he was taking a 6-month leave of absence after acknowledging what he called missteps in his behavior with employees in a memo to staff. According to The Hollywood Reporter and The Washington Post, John Lasseter had a history of alleged sexual misconduct towards employees. On June 8, 2018, it was announced that Lasseter would leave Disney Animation and Pixar at the end of the year, but would take on a consulting role until then. Pete Docter was announced as Lasseter's replacement as Chief Creative Officer of Pixar on June 19, 2018. As to not end on a sour note, Pixar is a studio that has made billions at the box office, shaping the minds of generations past and present in the art of storytelling and animation. Pixar has also opened Pixar-themed lands around the world at various Disney parks, with their most recent being the Toy Story Land at Disney Hollywood Studios in Florida. Pixar, in my opinion, continues to be one of the best studios working today, and not only has set a bar for expectations for animation going forward, but has cemented itself as the best animation studio to date, with each movie seemingly getting better and better and more groundbreaking. And until next time, to infinity and
Star Wars,